I love making the steel pan because, well, it's the instrument that I love, and I've always enjoyed making things since I was little. So I love to cook. My mom taught me how to sew, and I just like to use my hands to create things. And to be able to make an instrument that I love is just something so special. I do believe steel pan tuning is a combination of science and art. And the science part is understanding how each instrument is constructed and understanding how the sound is specified in different parts of each note. So the fundamental, which is the main note, and partials, which are overtones, and understanding how they are assigned to each note. And depending on who built and tuned steel pans, it can be different. Or depending on how you shape each note, the location of the partials can be different. So as a tuner, you have to be able to identify how each pan was constructed and also tuned. So it can be time-consuming to understand how steel just reacts. And it's quite interesting and so complex, but once you understand, it becomes fun. It's kind of like a puzzle. You know, you're trying to figure out a puzzle that was created by different people. Some people do make pans in similar matter, so shaping each note in a same way. And if that is the case, it's easier to understand how each note will be reacting. But in case of the person who taught me how to build and tune, the late Dr. Clifford Alexis, his approach was different. He would try to understand how each steel reacted, and he would try to figure out whatever worked. So no one way of tuning necessarily applied. Like you had to first investigate how Cliff shaped each note. And so yeah, I would say that's the science part of tuning. And art of tuning is how each tuner has his or her own signature sound. And that is something that a machine can't figure out. It's up to each one of our ears. So just listening for the kind of timbre or the tone color that you're looking for and trying to achieve that sound by building and tuning. So because I was taught by Cliff, my sound is similar to Cliff's sound. And the way I would explain would be it's more like crystal-like. It just resonates really, it's hard to explain how different timbres are, but yeah, to me he had a significant signature sound, and it's been my goal to continue to produce his sound. So when I was learning how to build, Cliff had multiple different types of drums for me to just practice on. So that meant different gauge, so the thickness would be different. And if the metal is too thin, it's just very difficult to form each note and for each note to retain that strength. So thickness of metal is very important. But also the type of steel, the material, can make a difference as well. Even if the thickness is the same, I've encountered this particular set of steel drums that just didn't react the way other drums did. So I would strike one part and it wouldn't sync the right way. It would just kind of bounce back all of the time. So it's very important to have the right type of steel. However, the steel drum companies don't make products specifically to be made into steel pans. So sometimes that can be challenging. And something else that would be challenging, that has been challenging for me, is to use a pneumatic hammer. And the impact is so large that every time it shakes, like it just shakes my whole entire body. And that just makes me really, really tired. And of course, I'm not as young as I used to be when I first started building steel pans. The hardest pan to tune for me are base pans. And the reason is because of the size of base pans, simply because I have to flip them and I have to go inside. And that's just so much harder for me. And using a heavier hammer, so that's, physically more demanding. Even though the most favorite pan for me to play is the bass pan, but the least favorite pan for me to tune, is the bass pan.